adding, really sort of putting together great companies that becomes our added IP, really, as Adam Global. And while I've heard so many solutions to problems that we must tackle now, my question really to all the leaders and to all of our members here is, how does that translate into each of the members becoming more proactive, first of all, to get into this discussion?
Can we share that link?
But secondly, how are we going to translate into some commercial benefit for each and every one of our members? So that's really the discussion for the board, for the members, and for you as the chair to take forward, please.
Send me the link.
I think you're absolutely right. The practicalities of going forward, how do we do this? I mean, one of the things we should recognise straight away that all the members of Adam Global will not be as appraised of the issues that clearly have been raised by all of our speakers today, who obviously know a great deal. And so there is a learning curve, I see, with our own members,
Facebook,
but then to be ambassadors, and how do we draw that together? In terms of the board, one of their first things I think should be to be looking at how do we turn and build on what has been an excellent session today, that is down to everyone that's contributed, really to make that difference. I agree entirely that and I did say earlier on, it's not all about money, but of course money matters. But it needs to be used in the right way. And I just say, one of the things I'm working on is actually a project which has its origins started in Sierra Leone, which was purely out of a chap saying, I've got 9 acres of land, I want to build a secondary school for the kids that have to walk 12 miles for that education. Well, that's fine, great in itself, but actually when you then look, how does that become sustainable? Education is great in itself, but what they do, how does that help their lives then in the future? Well, actually, there's a problem, because obviously mainly it's agricultural, but we know that 80% of the produce rots in the fields, never gets to even local markets, let alone perhaps more lucrative export markets. And then there's the knowledge and wherewithal, how would you do that? But actually, there's no refrigerated storage, which you need. Well, that's because there's no power. And so, we've been developing in terms of a whole integrated and connected project. And it is making sure that funding gets to that, to start to make that difference. So recognise today. Look, I want to finally put on record our sincere thanks to our 5 main speakers, to everyone that's contributed in terms of comments, but I'd also, on behalf of everyone here, like to thank particularly Kevin and Kieran in their work that they have done in drawing this together, making sure it works, making sure that you know, making sure you've got the links to be here today. So thank you for your work that you've been doing behind the scenes, and thanking all of us for giving you the head. But
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, Chairman, and everyone who's watching team. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Excellent. So, moving forward, I shall declare the end of the Institutional Business Forum, and if you're happy, we will move forward straight to the annual general meeting of Adam Globe. Of course, in the olden days, we would have met physically in some location, which would be great, but I'm we're doing it online. And as I say, I think in the future there'll be hybrid meetings which bring together as many people, but maybe digitally as well as physically as well. I'm very briefly just going to say, well, it's been a challenging year, to put it mildly, and all of us, individually, collectively. But it's been an honour to be the ADAM Global Ambassador for the previous year, and I've been delighted to be working with many great people who I mention when I come to item 3 on the agenda, which of course is the election of presidents, geographical basis. So I won't say any more at this stage, other than to pass on to the founding chairman for an annual overview by Tahir. Professor.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable. Thank you for chairing the International Business Forum elegantly as you do. So, my sincere thanks to you. I am really pleased and very happy to see some new members from Africa. So, welcome to all of them. As we all had the challenge of dealing with COVID, so our previous year has really been COVID challenge year, and I mean there's no other way of describing it. So as an organization of professionals, the professionals of international standing, accredited lawyers, accountants, and doctors and others, I think it was very difficult for everyone to continue to do what they were doing in their normal life. However, by coming together, we were able to last year share some updates on COVID and the impact of COVID. First of all, on the personal lives, and Dr. Abdul Karim was able to share with us his thoughts as an international expert on COVID, how we as people can protect ourselves, but also we had discussions with a number of our members who presented ways of minimizing the damaging impact of COVID on our businesses. And in fact, some presented this as an opportunity for creating new business models and new business avenues and new business income streams. That presented to us a real opportunity to think by removing all barriers, because it was such a huge impact that we started to think really what will happen if this was to continue. And all around us there was digital transformation, and ADAM Global also took the steps to transform the way we communicate and transform the way that we were able to present information to each other and to our clients. So our digital transformation took us into more of web-based meetings, web-based consultations, and web-based discussions, which I have to once again thank my team, Kevin and his team, that they were able to deliver that with great precision. In order to develop it further, we started to look at how the data is managed. And most of our communications were on WhatsApp groups. So we have up to 200 people in any one WhatsApp group. This had great impact on time, and many a times it caused disturbance because the information shared perhaps was not relevant to everyone. There were GDPR implications by having those WhatsApp groups. So at that point, the team, once again, well done to our manager, Kevin, and his team with Naveed and other colleagues, that they transformed and transferred the whole of communication onto more secured communication method, which is now the Adam Global Workspace on Slack. Now, at the front, it looks like that, but really it is fully integrated now with our CRM. And therefore, all information that's communicated is securely stored for each and every conversation, communication, and presentation. So we were able to then start by facilitating the KYC of our members. So KYC available now online, and each and every member, in order to ensure that they are the appropriate and the right professionals for this group, now KYC has become mandatory, and KYC is now available online, and every member that is a member will have a KYC. In addition, it provided us an opportunity to create secure groups, because there were concerns from lawyers that they work differently, they had different sets of regulations, and therefore they needed to be in an environment which was very secured, but it had the lawyers, be that the global organization, but they need to be in one area. Similarly, the accountants, they really have been the developing force, and I have to thank our president from Africa, Laban, for taking a lead on this, and of course Kalindi to have really put the fire in this particular development, and thank you very much to both of you. So we now have a group of accountants that have they are in a secure place, nobody else can enter, but they have now developed between themselves, allowing all of the governance to be met. They have created a group which is actively working together now to create a very able interface with the clients, not just B2B, but starting to develop an interface with the clients. And all the governance is by the group and by the leaders themselves. And lastly, I have to say that we added a new group, which is the healthcare professionals. And I'm delighted to see that my dear friend, Dr. Ghofrani, is here, who really who was able to lead that and is the president of Adam Global Healthcare. And of course, very ably contributions from our vice president in healthcare by Professor Jayasimi. And I'll come to some of the things that they've done the last year. But so we have now very secured areas so that the governance can be conducted without any interference from other professionals. And that was very important to us. We have also consolidated governance by the board, by the functioning board of Adam Global. They have now an overall picture, they have a charge of how the whole of the group, of all the professionals, how they should be governed, and the board has been strengthened, and the board now consists of our global ambassador, Right Honorable Paul Clark, our director of strategy, Igor Sibilia, and the 5 presidents, which is the president of Americas, Mark Field, president of Europe, Edith Nordman, president of Africa, Laban Chege, and our president from Asia. Of course, I am also a member of that board. But that board has the responsibility and will continue to have responsibility for governance and ensuring that this group remains compliant with all professional standards that are required internationally. The medical group seems to have come far very quickly and very fast, and in fact they were able to conduct a very informative and international telehealth conference, which was organized by a member and was facilitated by Professor Jayasimi as the vice president, led by, of course, the president, Dr. Gofrani of Adam Healthcare. And we believe that there are a number of other opportunities which are coming our way, in which the people are starting to see this as a forum where healthcare discussions can happen and advice can be sought. And of the meeting or the dinner with my dear friend, Dr. Hage Gengorb, in London, where the Right Honourable and Professor Jayasimi was present, there were at least 3 potential healthcare projects that were discussed, and they are currently being explored. And one of them was a telehealth medicine, which I am pleased to say that the project was delivered to the president, and that project has reached a stage that the Minister of Health has now had a meeting with Dr. Chuptai, and that project is now in its sort of final discussion phases for implementation. The other possibility which Professor Jayasimi raised was the health of young women in Namibia, and remember that these are not just for Namibia. We could really take it, and then that model we could implement to any of the countries, either in Africa or Asia. And that again, the First Lady was very, very impressed with the suggestions made by Professor Jayasimi, and we are in the process of presenting an implementable program to the First Lady and to the government of Namibia. And thirdly, there was opportunity for us to work on developing a medical school in Namibia, and that is something which is currently being considered. So all I'm trying to say is that it is possible by right groups to come together and to make progress and then create opportunities for other members. So I'm presuming that if all those projects went ahead, then our accountants in Africa, our lawyers in Africa, or for that matter, internationally, that want to be a part of that, will also have opportunities to create some commercial benefits for themselves. Of course, our big success last year was the e-book, which was a project led by our President Europe, by Edith Nordman. And thank you, Edith, for doing that. And I think that's a fantastic project that puts Adam Global on the map as a real professional organization that can create insights into situations which are really for each and every business. And we are planning to hold an international conference on banking regulations, which Edith is considering to chair. So I think there's been a lot of good work done under very difficult circumstances last year. Now, also, our big success was enhancement of the membership support or the membership services team. So again, our President Africa came forward and has set up an office in Nairobi, which is the Africa Support Services Center. And I can see that Beata is here. Welcome, Beata. Lovely to see you here. Of course, Victoria is here. And I believe that there are a number, 5 or 6 other members that have been inducted from Africa from that office. Also, we've enhanced the marketing team. So there are now 6 people in the marketing team. So thank you to Mr. Shanawaz in the Dubai office who have given that resource for the team to come forward. So there are members of the team that are now enhancing marketing, and this is for the members to now come forward and take advantage of that team and use them for their own marketing and for marketing of the business as well as for their ideas. And last but not least, really, is the possibilities of that team to expand. And thank you to our President in Americas, Mark Field, who I believe has identified a person that we will be continuing discussion on how to bring that person into the fold of that services team. And there are discussions in India currently whereby 2 people have been, I believe, been earmarked, and Kevin is in negotiations to bring them on board. And then lastly, in Europe, as we progress, there will be a team that we'll plan to set up. I want to thank everyone once again, and I'm looking forward to next year. Next year will be more exciting because we have gone from a very expanded large organization to where we really then sifted through the members, quality control, and we are now a very, very close group of professionals. So next year is going to be amazing for us. Our next year's meeting, I would say, would be in Mauritius, and thank you to Kalindi and the team, and of course Laban is smiling again. Africa wins. So our next year meeting will be in Mauritius, and as the Right Honourable said, we will take the opportunity to add those that cannot travel to that meeting through a hybrid conference, like the Professor Jayasimi had already shown, and Dr. Wafrani, that it can work as a hybrid model. And I will suggest that the coming years, perhaps the year after Dubai, and the year after that in Egypt. But we are open to those, and I'm delighted that we are now in a very, very positive shape as an organization, as provider of quality services by accredited and by regulated professionals across the world. So my thanks, and I'm delighted to hand you back to the chair. Thank you, Right Honourable.
Thank you, Tahir, for that detailed overview of the last year. It certainly has been challenging, but I think the board have helped to take us forward and to put into place many of those things that Tahir has referred to. So I am conscious that some people were saying they've got to leave or have left because of time-wise. So I think at this stage, can I move on to item 3, which is President elections and appointments? I want to say at the outset, and just put on record, my sincere thanks personally to all those that have taken up the cudgels to be presidents and to show leadership in their given areas and across various sectors. And I particularly want to pay tribute to two people who are standing down, or one who has stood down. But I want to put on record thanks to Surapon, who was president for Asia. I know he hasn't joined us today. We said about COVID being a real challenge, business-wise and so on, if not, obviously personal health-wise. And I know for Surapon, COVID has meant that he needs to concentrate very much on his work in Bangkok and elsewhere. And so he had to stand down only in the last month or so, but said that he wouldn't seek clearly reappointment, re-election. So my thanks to Surapon, and I hope you put that on record. To my old drinking partner, Edith, I only say that because we just remember how we had a good chat for the first time over a drink at indeed a physical meeting. But things change. I know, Edith, over the last year, you have given us strong guidance, strong advice, and have helped on that journey of change that clearly Tahir has referred to. And I know you're standing down this year, and we do thank you for the work that you've done in the European sector, but also, as Tahir's referred to, the banking e-book. And I know sometimes that's been like, I'll use this term, you do it with extracting teeth to get contributors and so on and so forth. But hey, that's the way of the world. But because you did it in such a nice way of extracting the teeth, I know that we have a great book, which is exactly the sort of thing that I believe we should be providing as Adagro, practical stuff as well. And that ebook is that. I sincerely hope that you would be able to share a conference built around clearly that banking ebook and that. Obviously, I thank Mark for his contribution from the Americas, and I see Marcus is back with us now in South America. He's been working as VP and so on with Mark, and of course to Laban. And I also see that Vila is here because Laban, the work that you've been doing in Africa and the Middle East and developing in terms of membership. Nice to see you, Vila. Thank you for putting on the camera. Good to see you. Thank you for the work that you've been leading and helping to support the band, really. Let's be honest. He'd be the first to say that, but no, seriously, working as a team. But of course, it would be remiss of me not to also mention thanks to people like you can see Victoria, Kalindi. I'm looking forward to being out there next year. But
business formation
commitment, and to our other VPs and country heads. So
no problem.
My thanks. Sorry, Ashran. I should have said, because I had you down as the newcomer to setting up the healthcare sector, which has been a great success through you driving that forward. Do really appreciate the work that you're doing in that, and of course, just underpins the whole of our lives wherever we are in the world. So thank you very much for the work that you've done. Right, having said the human and having done all those thanks, there's just too many people to thank. Presidents, elections and so on, we've received nominations and have been duly considered. I am delighted to report nominations for Africa and the Middle East was hard fought, but I'm delighted that Laban
Everything is gone. If I
Jacob,
refresh,
thank
nothing
you,
will happen,
Laban,
right?
reappointed
You're
as
the organizer,
President
right?
of
Yes.
of
If I can
Africa
refresh.
and the Middle East. And I should say, yes, congratulations. Or commiserations. No, congratulations, seriously. Carry on that work that you've been doing.
No,
Do appreciate it. What I should say, in terms of
you are
vice
in Chrome,
presidents,
not
building
in the
then
software,
the
right? Okay.
teams that work together in whichever continent it is, and country
You are still here,
heads, who I think, we've got some good country heads, but we need
but
to
you are
develop
still here.
more so we have a better, closer
You are
reach
still here.
on the ground,
That's you.
which I know all the presidents that
Yeah,
have
it's
been around
gone.
agree that that's what needs to happen. Not the easiest thing to do, but they will be making recommendations for vice president to the board at our next meeting. Saying that, delighted. I don't know who's just joined us. It comes up as Kevin. Would you switch off your mic, please? I'm also glad to say Mark Fields for the Americas. You have been appointed and elected as president for the Americas. Congratulations to you, sir. And then we come to two changes because, as I've already mentioned, Thurupon in Asia had to leave us. But I'm delighted that I haven't seen her on today. That may be a technology issue. But Juliet Zhao has been from Shanghai, who was working with Surapon as a vice president, is taking up the cudgels out there, and we congratulate her on her appointment as well. Okay. And last but by no means least, with big boots to fill, Edith takes a size 10 shoe. Cameron Sheikh has taken up the cudgels of European president, and he is based in the second largest city in the UK. I say that because I'm in London. The first is in Birmingham. So congratulations, Cameron. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I genuinely welcome on board to our two new colleagues. Welcome back to our two old colleagues, but not in age. So welcome back. And Dr. Hassan obviously continues as president of the healthcare sector. We're delighted that that's the case. I think it's very clear that we have significant work. Oh yes, sorry. We have significant. Hello the children as well, the new members of Adam Global. We obviously have a great deal of work to do and a number of challenges to meet. The board will need to get down to that work, as indeed the outgoing board did, as soon as it meets. One of the things that the board had to deal with, start work on, was the bylaws. You see exciting topics that have to be dealt with, but of course very practical in terms of proper governance and sound running. And the man of the moment is Eagle. Over to you, the Director of Strategy.
Thank you, Paul. And as probably the only one who is totally not a lawyer in the group, I took the privilege to kind of look at the document, and big cheers and thanks to Kevin, who was extremely instrumental in helping to put it together. I would keep it very, very short. The point was the initial bylaws were developed about 3-4 years ago, and since that time the organization has evolved. So we've had certain practices established in terms of how we operate, who our members are, and how we are structured, that were not congruent with the way we initially thought of the network when the first draft of the bylaws was proposed and accepted. So basically, if you were to crystallize 2, 3 key changes that are there, it's the role of the board, and initially the bylaws looked at having some more kind of permanent management positions, which were not evolved until now, and those roles were taken by the board. So that's the powers and the composition of the board as one. The second one is the roles, and when, as Dr. Tahir and Paul have commented, we've evolved last year, in the last couple of years, to have the positions of regional presidents and practice presidents and vice presidents, and neither of those were reflected in the initial version of the bylaws, so that needed amendment. And last but not least, there were some little touch-ups regarding meetings and regarding membership. As you well know, last year we decided to change our membership structure and not to split it into bronze, silver, gold anymore, but rather have it kind of more geographically defined in terms of fees and structure. Now, what we've done, we've presented the amended text to the board, and everybody had an opportunity to look at it. Then the updated version was sent to all of you in advance of that meeting, so whoever was interested had a chance to look at it. And of course, this will stay a dynamic and a living document, and maybe a year from now, as we continue to evolve, we may add some more amendments to continue to be in conformance with our kind of a basic legal document. So with that said, my request would be to all of you to approve of those changes and move on with the new set of bylaws. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Igor, for summarising those key changes that are in the bylaws, and put on record our thanks to you for taking up the challenge to bring them to reflect current patterns, and as you say, clearly further changes might happen as we evolve and as we go forward. Let me ask to those members of Adam Global that are there any questions about the bylaws as they stand and have been circulated? Bear in mind this is a digital meeting. Is there any opposition to us adopting those bylaws as circulated? If there is, please put your microphone on and shout at me. Okay, would I be fair in accepting then, just summarising that the annual general meeting of Adam Global members adopts the bylaws as circulated to be used as the guide? It looks like that. Here. Sorry, I suddenly had a call that came in on the screen. Sorry about that. Some panic. Hadn't happened all day, thank goodness. It happened. Okay, I accept that. Edith just flashed up to say that she has to go. I know she's had clients waiting for a little while. Again, Edith, we are right at the end. just put on record our sincere thanks, and I know that we will keep in touch. So thank you for that. I appreciate you letting us know that you've got to go. On that basis, I can move on to item 5. There's sharing of business opportunities and any other business. Is there anything else that people want to raise, a comment at all? I am conscious we are a bit later than anticipated. No further comments. Okay, well, let me just then say a big vote of thanks to everyone that's been involved today, not only with the AGM, but again with the International Business Forum. Again, for the AGM, let me thank everyone involved in delivering, and particularly Kevin and Kiran in terms of the work that they've done again for making sure that we're here and everything's in order. On that point, may I wish you an enjoyable day for you, Mark, which you've got ahead. Just think of all those extra hours you've got in today because it's global. Can I wish you a good afternoon if you are in the right part of the world, like where I am, and of course a good evening, and have a drink for me on my behalf, and I'll pay you when I see you. So, okay, on that point, have a good day or good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. See you all soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Goodbye. Bye.